Let's get straight to the point. You're not feeling well. You don't exactly know why, but something doesn't fit. You have it all. Access to information, hot food in under 10 minutes, endless entertainment, 1,000 ways to talk to anyone, and yet there's a gap that can't be filled. No one says it, but everyone feels it. This dull discomfort, this feeling that we're running toward nowhere. The great lie of modern progress is that it came with happiness included. That if we accumulated achievements, likes, objects, diplomas, and productivity, we would find meaning. But here we are, exhausted, overstimulated, broken on the inside, with practiced smiles and photos that hide entire nights of insomnia. And the worst part is, we normalize it. Exhaustion is the new status symbol. If you're not on the brink of collapse, it seems like you're not trying hard enough. Zygmunt Bauman called it liquid modernity. Everything flows, everything changes, nothing stays the same, neither love, nor work, nor relationships. We're connected to thousands of people, but emotionally isolated. We talk all the time, but we say little. We constantly put ourselves out there, but no one sees us. Byung-Chul Han warned us with cold surgical precision. This society has turned us into slaves to performance. There is no longer an external master whipping us. We're the ones who whip ourselves every morning to produce, stand out, and not fall behind. And meanwhile, we fade, slowly, quietly, without making a sound. Because we live in a culture where feeling bad is a flaw, a weakness that must be hidden. Where if you don't smile, you're annoying. Where if you stop, you disappoint. We live trapped in a mirage of freedom that is, in reality, another form of slavery. Look around you. Everything is measured. The body, the steps, the hours of sleep, productivity, attention, and what isn't measured is ignored. We've displaced what's essential: presence, silence, depth. We've replaced being with doing, feeling with showing, living with accumulating. And the result is right in front of us. A society of hyperactive zombies, smiling on the outside, empty on the inside. Don't be mistaken. This is not an individual crisis. It's structural. It's the symptom of a system that's confused progress with speed, well-being with consumption, freedom with self-expectation. We've been trained to function, not to live, to fulfill, not to understand, to move forward even if we don't know where to. Now ask yourself, when was the last time you felt real peace? Not fleeting pleasure, not superficial distraction. Peace. That feeling of being okay without needing anything. The answer probably will hurt. We've become automatons of our own goals. We wake up with anxiety. We go to sleep with guilt. No matter how much you achieve, it never seems enough. Because the system is designed for it never to be. Every day there's something new to learn, a skill to master, a course to take, a network to feed, an image to maintain. And in that endless wheel, the only thing we lose is ourselves. Loneliness, that silent epidemic, is no longer the privilege of the forgotten. It's the daily bread of the successful. We feel alone even when surrounded because conversations don't deepen, because gazes don't linger, because no one truly listens. And so, we collect shallow connections that won't hold when everything collapses. And when we fall, we discover the emptiness. That all that scaffolding of achievement, status, and appearances is meaningless if there's no one to sit with you on the floor. Then you understand that true luxury is not the car, the watch, or the trip. It's having someone who looks at you without filters, listens to you without rushing, embraces you unconditionally. But that's not taught, measured, or monetized. The cult of efficiency has invaded every corner of our existence. Even free time has become a race for productivity. Reading, meditating, training, learning, everything must yield a return. We no longer know how to simply be. Staring out the window without doing anything seems like a deadly sin. And yet, it's in those moments that the soul breathes. Silence scares us, because in silence we hear. And what we hear sometimes hurts. That's why we fill it with noise, music, podcasts, series, notifications, anything but facing what we are. But without that encounter, we keep running away. And the more we run, the more we lose ourselves. We've confused connection with visibility. We think the more we are seen, the more connected we are. But real connection doesn't need spectators. It's not measured in likes. It's felt in the heart. And that, today, is rare, because we're terrified to show ourselves as we are, with our doubts, our wounds, our shadows. We live editing even our emotions, and so we become domesticated versions of ourselves, acceptable, polished, sad. Because authenticity is dangerous in a world that rewards the superficial. Saying, "I'm not okay," has become a revolutionary act. Stopping, an act of rebellion, and being yourself, the greatest risk. But here's the twist. The system cannot sustain itself if we stop participating, if we stop running, consuming, comparing, if we stop, look around and ask, does this make sense? Because deep down, you know, you didn't come here to produce. You didn't come here to accumulate followers or diplomas. You came to live, to connect, to love, to feel. And to live really begins when you stop acting for others, when you stop seeking validation outside, when you sit on the floor with yourself and finally listen. That's the home you've been searching for. And it's not in another country, another person, or another achievement. It's inside. Slow down. Turn off the noise. Breathe. Return to yourself. Because when you return to yourself, everything changes. The world keeps spinning, but you no longer spin with it. And from that calm, you can start to choose. Not to react, not to obey. To choose. Choose what you want to do with your time, your attention, your energy. Choose who you listen to, who you embrace, who you let in. And that choice, that small act of freedom, is the beginning of meaning. You're not broken. You're saturated. You're not lost. You're distracted. You don't need more. You need less. Less hurry, less pressure, less noise, and more of that which can't be bought. Presence, pause, authenticity. The way out is not in doing more, but in doing less with more meaning. In letting go of the idea that you always have to be on top. In allowing yourself not to know, not to be able, not to arrive. Because only when you give yourself that permission can you begin to live without the weight of a character. Awakening doesn't come with a shout. It comes with a whisper, a moment of clarity when everything stops. And you understand that life is not a race, but a return to yourself, a remembering of who you were before they told you who you should be. And if you've made it this far, you've already begun. You've opened a crack in the armor. You've lit a candle in the darkness. You don't need to run. Just keep going. Because every step toward yourself is a silent revolution. And the world needs now more than ever that revolution. And here is where one of the great contradictions of modern human beings comes in. The fear of being alone, but also the fear of being truly seen. Because if someone sees you without filters, without emotional makeup, without achievements to display, what's left? What happens if they discover you in your doubts, in your emptiness, in your humanity. So we live trapped between these two fires. We fear loneliness, but we also fear real intimacy. And this leads us to a new silent poison: constant comparison. It's not just that you compare yourself to others. You don't even realize you're doing it. You open a social network, and in seconds, you've measured yourself against 10 people. Some are younger than you and already have more. Others are less talented and further away. And as you see those polished profiles, your inner voice whispers, "And what are you doing with your life?" But here's the trap. What you see is not real. They are designed fragments, curated versions, moments carefully selected with a scalpel. No one shows you the emptiness behind the perfect smile, nor the arguments that followed that couple photo, nor the anxiety of maintaining the image they worked so hard to build. And yet, you punish yourself by comparing your internal chaos with their polished facade. It's a war you'll always lose. There's a new kind of prison, more dangerous than the ones with bars, the prison of appearances, and it's so sophisticated that you don't even know you're inside. You get up and you're already thinking about how to be perceived, how to say the right thing, how to present yourself as competent, happy, functional. When was the last time you were awkward in public and didn't care? When was the last time you admitted you were lost without feeling guilt or shame? We've been taught to fear failure more than to desire the truth, to prefer an apparent life over a real one. And that has devastating consequences, because when you live for the image, you die inside slowly. Your essence fades. Your spontaneity withers. And the saddest part, you yourself begin to forget who you were before you became a character. There are people who live trapped in a narrative they didn't even choose. They're playing the role of the one who has it all under control, or the one who always smiles, or the successful one. And they play it so well that even their loved ones believe it. But in the privacy of their room, when the screens go dark, what remains is a silence full of questions that no one dares to ask. And that's where a deeper wound appears: self-neglect. Not the neglect of others. That's easy to see. Self-neglect is more subtle, more cruel. It's when you stop listening to yourself, taking care of yourself, respecting yourself. It's when you ignore your own needs to keep fulfilling, when you betray yourself to fit in, when you silence what you feel so as not to bother. That's the greatest act of violence you commit against yourself. And you don't even realize it. But here comes the most twisted part. The system rewards that neglect. It applauds the one who never stops, the one who always responds, the one who never says no, the one who produces even if they're broken, the one who shines while bleeding. And the more you disconnect from yourself, the more recognition you get. It's the greatest oxymoron of our era. The more you disconnect from your truth, the more they applaud you, and you, hungry for approval, accept it. But there comes a point when the body speaks, because even though you disconnect, it doesn't. The body begins to shout what your mind silences in the form of anxiety, insomnia, chronic exhaustion, sadness without an apparent cause. No, you're not sick. You're disconnected. And that disconnect, if left unaddressed, turns into illness. There's an emotional intelligence we've ignored for too long, the ability to inhabit yourself, to be with yourself without distractions, to listen to your emotions without needing to solve them quickly, to allow yourself to feel without judging yourself. That's not weakness. That's radical strength. The kind that doesn't need masks or scripts. We live with a fragmented soul because we're in 1,000 places except with ourselves. Always on alert, always projecting, always in control, but never in presence. And that comes at a price, one that's not always noticeable at first, but it accumulates. And when it bursts, it does so with a force that sweeps everything away. So what's the way out? There's no quick answer. Because this is not a recipe, it's an awakening. It's realizing you didn't come here to fulfill expectations. You came to experience life. And experiencing life means chaos, fear, change. It means feeling everything, not just what's comfortable or socially acceptable. Returning to yourself isn't easy because you've avoided it for too long. But it's urgent. It's vital. Because if you don't do it, you'll end up living someone else's life. What they expect, what's expected, what's supposed to be. And one day, when it's too late, you'll ask, where have I been all this time? You were busy, but not present. And that's the greatest theft of this era. They've stolen the now from you while selling you the future. They've convinced you that life is over there after reaching certain goals, after becoming someone. But life was always here, waiting for you to return. And you? Are you ready to come back? Then let me ask you bluntly, are you going to keep living on autopilot, or are you going to stop once and look at what's inside of you? Because even though everything around you pushes you to speed up, there's a silent voice that keeps whispering for you to stop. And that voice is not weakness, it's memory. It's the part of you that still remembers what you were before you became a cog, before you dressed yourself in efficiency, before you forgot. And if you're scared to listen to yourself, it's because you know that inside there are uncomfortable truths waiting to come out. Truths that could dismantle everything you think you are. And that's okay. It's okay to be scared, because true change doesn't start with motivation. It starts with breaking, with discomfort, with that emptiness you finally decide to face, instead of covering it with noise, with likes, with productivity. And here's the most brutal part. No one is coming to save you. No one. There's no mentor, no partner, no social network, no book, no guru that can do for you what you're not willing to do for yourself. This journey is personal, non-transferable, and yes, it's dizzying because it involves letting go of everything you were pretending to be. It involves looking at yourself with naked eyes, no filters, no poses, just you. Are you willing to do that? To step off the stage? To stop playing the role they expected from you? Because true transformation begins the day you quit being the character. The day you decide to stop acting for others and start living for yourself. Not for your ego, for you, for your essence, for that forgotten part of you that still breathes, even if sometimes with difficulty. And I'll tell you more. The world doesn't need another perfect person. The world needs awakened souls, present people, real humans with fear and all, but awake, capable of feeling, of stopping, of asking, of saying, I don't know who I am, but I'm willing to find out. That phrase is braver than any success you can hang on the wall. So if anything you've just heard has resonated with you, even if it's just a tiny crack, don't let it pass. That crack is the entrance. It's the first step towards you. Don't ignore it. Don't cover it. Don't dissolve it into the usual routine. Feel that crack, live in it, and start building from there. And if you made it this far in the video, it's no accident. It's because there's something inside of you that was already ready to hear this. Maybe you didn't know it, but now you do. So make it real. Don't just think about it. Write it down. Say it. Dare to comment on it. Leave this phrase in the comments if you connected with all of this. I'm returning to myself, not for me, for you, to declare out loud what the system wants you to forget, that your value is not in what you do or what you appear to be, but in what you are, when no one is watching. And if this video stirred something in you, made you stop, think, or even cry a little inside, I invite you to subscribe. Because here, you won't find empty motivation. You'll find truth. Raw, direct, without frills. Here we come to tear off layers, not put on band-aids. So if you want to keep breaking characters and rebuilding yourself in authenticity, this channel is your refuge. Turn on the notification bell if you don't want to miss what's coming. Because what's coming is not content. It's a silent revolution. One that starts from within. And you, yes, you're already part of it. See you in the next video, or rather, we'll see you in yourself. Because while everyone else is running on the outside, you've begun the bravest journey that exists, returning home. And remember, while others scream to be seen, you're learning to see yourself in silence. And that silence is power. Until then, disappear for a while. The world doesn't need you. You do.